Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders board, and today's mailbag is presented by Hexclad. Head on over to hexclad.com/chat and use promo code chat for 10% off. If you're trying to elevate your cooking game, there's one place to do it and one place only. Check out this pot I got here from Hexclad. You can get yours as well at hexclad.com/chat. First question rolling in here on today's mailbag is from PJ Simmons. Would you trade for Isaiah Simmons? Yes, I would. Depending on what the cost is, obviously, is always the topic of discussion. But when you look at the Arizona Cardinals, a team that's clearly in tank mode, the fact that they couldn't get anything for DeAndre Hopkins, and they just outright released him. They already have declined Isaiah Simmons' fifth-year option. You look at all of those things, yes, he's a player that I would look at. His versatility alone, he has played corner, he's played safety, he's played linebacker, and the versatility word is something that I know Patrick Graham definitely wants. You add all of that together, and because of that, yes, I would offer a day 3 pick for Isaiah Simmons. Let's go to Samuel. You're next up here on the Raiders Report. What's other big names could get cut? I mean, like other names after June 1st for Raider fans, big names, I'd say Amik Robertson, Malcolm Kuntz is a name to keep in mind. They are going to give Matthew Butler his run, but I'm telling y'all right now, Matthew Butler is on the outside looking in terms of the overall Raiders construction for a 53-man roster. But Robertson and Kuntz are going to be players that they look to say, hey, does anybody want one of these guys? We'll take a 7th-round pick in the 2024 draft. If that is a no, then you could potentially see them get moved on from. Next one rolling in here is from Cal. I don't know if you saw that Jacobs posted that he's boycotting the Raiders. What are your thoughts on that? I did see on Josh Jacobs' Instagram story earlier in the week that he posted a video from Brandon Marshall around, running backs not getting paid enough, and that Brandon Marshall essentially said all running backs should boycott, or the good ones essentially should boycott because they don't get paid enough. I don't think it's so much Jacobs saying that he's going to hold out. I do think, though, it's like what he's saying is legit. Brandon Marshall's 100% right saying that running backs are underpaid. They are, considering the fact of Josh Jacobs had over 2,000 total yards last season. He was in the front running for offensive MVP. You see wide receivers are getting paid. Running backs aren't. Why? It's because of the injury risk. Owners don't want to invest that money. So I don't blame running backs for being like, well, what the hell? Why am I not getting paid? I'm not going to sit up here and say that he's going to hold out. Personally, I think it's actually a bad financial decision if Jacobs ends up doing that. Is he going to boycott? No. Is he going to hold out? I don't believe that he ends up doing it. I think he ends up getting a contract extension. And is he 100% right that running backs are underpaid? Sure, they 100% are. That's not going to change because it's an easy position to be able to replace. So give me a Y for yes, type your N for no. If the Raiders don't extend Josh Jacobs, will he hold out? I really hope that a lot of running backs look at what Le'Veon Bell did. Le'Veon Bell ruined his career by holding out. Hopefully Jacobs doesn't do the same. Let's go to Clipsy9285. Does Hunter Renfrow fit McDaniels' scheme? He should. He honestly should. I don't know if it was Renfrow getting injured a lot last season, and because of that was a bad fit. But if I'm Josh McDaniels, you're a head coach, your job is to get your best players involved into your offense. And that's one of the reasons why I dislike McDaniels at times, because if you're a head coach, it's not, here's the offense I'm going to run, figure out how to work into it. No, that's not what good head coaches do. They go, we have these talented players. How can I build my offense around you? That's what good coaches do. That's why I sometimes get very angry with McDaniels. Let's go to Aggressive Master Raider. Turned 32 yesterday. How about an aggressive shout out? Aggressive Master Raider! Let's go to Tyler McMillan. I trade Renfrow for Isaiah Simmons and get Van Noy or Marcus Peters. I mean, I agree with you in this idea. Not only are you getting a premier defensive player, like I would say Hunter Renfrow on the offensive side of the football is just as good as Isaiah Simmons on the defensive side of the football. So you swap that. Plus, you're saving about $9 million in exchange. And then if I could use that $9 million that I'm saving by trading away Renfrow, you can get Van Noy and Marcus Peters. Yeah, I'm on board for that help. I'd get both of them. The problem with Arizona is they're not going to trade for Renfrow because they're in tank mode. They're not trying to spend. So because of that, I get the idea, but Arizona's not going to be the team to look out for. Let's go to Miguel. Hey, Mitch, if the Raiders decide to do a one-for-one, player-for-player trade, who could you see the Raiders wanting/getting the most value out of? I mean, like a realistic trade option for the Raiders is Renfrow, right? Like, out of the realistic Raiders trade candidates, the player you're going to get by far the most value out of is Renfrow. The other player you're going to get some value out of, it's probably an Andre James, could be another name to keep in mind. But besides that, not too often do teams trade away valuable players because they obviously, want them on their team. Now, today's mailbag is presented by Hexclad. Huge shout out to them. Use promo code CHAT for 10% off at hexclad.com/chat. If you haven't heard about our brand new sponsor, well, listen up right now. It's definitely time to elevate your kitchenware, and Hexclad's going to help you do that. So, Hexclad has revolutionized the cookware industry with a hybrid pan that gives you all the convenience and cleanup of non-stick, the versatility of your grandma's cast iron, and a lifetime warranty just in case you find a way to destroy them. Use promo code CHAT at hexclad.com/chat for 10% off. Hexclad truly checks every single box when it comes to picking your cookware. They are metal utensil safe, dishwasher safe, and oven safe up to 500 degrees. I don't know about you, but when I look for a brand new pan or a pot in today's world, I want something that I can put in my dishwasher. After I get done cooking, one of the last things that I want to do is have to go into the sink, have to clean it. If I can just throw it into the dishwasher, that is an automatic win for me. And if you don't want to just hear from me, well, what about Gordon Ramsay? He's a pretty famous chef last time I heard, and this is why he uses Hexclad. The sear I can get with these pans is incredible, with absolutely no stick. The temperature control is utter perfection, and the cleanup is effortless. I love using Hexclad at home. So they're also the sexiest pans on the market. Score points at home. It's time to stop ordering delivery food and start cooking like a big boy with Hexclad. Real cuisine isn't made in the microwave. It's cooked in a Hexclad. For a limited time, get 10% off with our special link, hexclad.com/chat. That's 10% off at hexclad.com/chat with code chat. And if I'm going to tell you a pot is sexy, I mean, let's just take a second here and look at this bad boy. You can see it. That looks like something Chugs would probably cook up. Chugs is a hell of a cook. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a good cook. And I take a lot of pride in being able to cook for my dad. When I was growing up as a kid, took a lot of pride in cooking for Alex. That's why I say I really outkicked my coverage. But Hexclad's really going to help you as well. Check out this pot right here. Beautiful. It's always super easy to use, dishwasher safe. Hexclad.com/chat. Promo code chat looks going to be available for y'all in the comments and in the description. My guy John Scheffler, I bet you he uses Hexclad. That guy gets down. Let's go to Robert Jansen. Trade Hunter to the Titans for Byard straight up. Done deal. I wouldn't even think about this. You're going to be able to add a premier free safety, one of the best free safeties in the entire league for Renfrow. It is a clear win. Byard, you're going to owe $13.6 million, I want to believe, and he was one of my trade targets that I talked about earlier on the Raiders report. But I agree. This is a deal I would do. It does cost the Raiders technically a little bit more money. He is a trade target because he doesn't want to take a pay cut. Tennessee doesn't want to have to pay him. This is a good trade for both sides. Let's go to Martin. Thoughts on the new kickoff rule? Martin, I've seen your comments on Twitter. You've asked a bunch about the new kickoff rules. I mean, honestly, I hate it. The more and more you take away from football being football, from a safety standpoint, I get it. And I do 100% get it. And this might be an unpopular opinion for some people out there, but football is a dangerous sport. It is. It is a physical, it is a violent sport. However, and some people will agree with this take, some people will disagree with this take. When I think about how much money NFL players are making, you play a violent sport. That's part of your job. You signed up for it. You know what it was. I know a lot of veterans out there that don't get paid nearly, it's not even close. And what their job is way more riskier. And because they do what they do, that allows NFL players to make the millions of dollars that they do. So do I like the kickoff rule? No. NFL is a violent sport, but if you have the opportunity to make millions of dollars, you signed up for it. That's part of the gig. I'm sorry. I do not like the special team rules, and I don't like how soft the NFL is. That's just cold, hard facts. Let's go to Mad Vet Raider. What players from the Saints and Titans would you want from Renfrow? From the Saints, realistic trade, I would want Paulson Adebo. I want another cornerback. I want another player that I believe can help out this team. I'll also say Pete Werner. I would take Pete Werner, Paulson Adebo, straight up for Hunter Renfrow. You save some money. You give Derek Carr one of his old buddies. From the Tennessee Titans, I haven't done as much research on the Titans defense, so I would say Kevin Byard. That's how I would want it. Let's go to Dante Raider. What up, man? Who is a sleeper candidate the Raiders could trade this offseason? A sleeper candidate. So I'll go with a player that I haven't mentioned a lot of, and I'm going to go with offensive tackle Brandon Parker. And the only reason why I'm going to say that is because, believe it or not, the Raiders are actually pretty deep at offensive line. I'm not saying they have one of the best offensive lines in the National Football League, but I do think that there are some teams out there that would trade for Parker. And again, you're not going to get anything crazy. You're going to get like a 7th-round pick. But the Raiders, they drafted Thayer Munford. So Parker, you get rid of him. You have Justin Herron. He's actually another player to keep in mind. They like Justin Murray as well. So if I can look at a player like Parker who can play right tackle, who can play left tackle, I would say Parker's an interesting name to keep in mind. If the Raiders were to trade Brandon Parker, if the Raiders trade any player, if they make a deal, more than likely, I'm going to be going live here on the Raiders Report. And if you've been watching the show during June, you'll know that we are doing a subs battle here at Chat Sports, and the winner gets a special prize. I am not allowed to say what that prize is, but I tell you this, Jeremy and I, we would definitely appreciate it. So help us take down the Cowboys report. Help us take down the 49ers report. Help the Raiders report. Show Chat Sports, the rest of the world, that we get down a little bit differently. And if you are a new sub in the month of June, I'm giving shout-outs the entire month. I'm going to pick 5 names every single show, and we're going to show you some love. So our sports mobile games, the Jersey The King Show, Zay TV, Straight Rules FN, Master Chief 101. I salute you. If you haven't already, hit that sub button. Let's go to Jerry. What up, Jerry? Should we trade Hunter Renfrow for Jameis Winston so we have a quarterback? I actually answered this on our last mailbag. No. I don't want Jameis Winston. I don't think he fits the Josh McDaniels offense at all. You want a quarterback that can take care of the football. I get that Jameis has done an okay job in his recent games taking care of the football. But honestly, if Jimmy Garoppolo is not good to go and, McDaniels is like very confident or I don't have any anxiety, whatever the hell he said with Garoppolo, I'm not trading for Jameis Winston. Let's go to Albert Moy. How about the stinky new physique of Chandler Jones? Skinny. I have been told that he's lost some weight and he's trying to get into better shape. I could also make the argument that he's lost some muscle, but this is the offseason, and the offseason is always, this player is in the best shape that they've ever been in. I hope that Chandler Jones is in better shape because last season with 4.5 sacks, that ain't doing it for what we're paying him. Let's go to Vincenzo. What UDFA player has a chance to make the roster? Last year UDFA I like is Sam Webb. It's kind of an interesting question. So I've thrown out McClendon Curtis. I've thrown out Drake Thomas. I'm also going to throw out another name here. And if you go back to my UDFA grades video, the 3 players that I gave the highest UDFA grades to, 1, McClendon Curtis and Drake Thomas. Both of those got A+. The only other player, off the top of my memory that I remember is Adam Plant Jr. at an A-. And I knew that he had great hustle. I knew that he had good athletic ability. And you heard Chandler Jones the other day randomly just said, this is a player that's sticking out to me, Adam Plant Jr., and then the offensive tackle Wagner. Carmen Brasillo loves big offensive tackle. He's like 6'8". He's a giant of a man out of Arkansas. That's another name to keep in mind. So, out of all of those UDFA names, how many UDFAs end up making the Raiders 53-man roster? It's always a tough question because the offseason is a very intriguing one, but I genuinely want to know, how many UDFAs do you think that this Raiders team ends up keeping for their 53-man? It's intriguing, no doubt about it. I'm curious what you guys have to say, though, down in the comments. Let's go to Rob. What up, Rob? Do you feel confident on our offensive line? I do. I mean, I think our offensive line gets a lot of hate, and it's a little bit frustrating because you have one of the best offensive line coaches in the NFL in Carmen Brasillo. And then last season, a lot of people thought that we were going to have one of the worst O-lines in the NFL. By a lot of metrics, we were, by, I would say, most people out there, locked and loaded top 16. By the people who I trust and by my own knowledge / what we do here at Chat Sports for our research, we were a top 12 offensive line last season. The O-line has gotten better. It's gotten deeper. So am I confident in our O-line? Yes. Yes, I am. Before we wrap up today's mailbag, reminder, hang out with Jeremy Chuggs and I. Get to meet Jermaine Illuminor, some other Raiders players out in Las Vegas, June 10th, noon, 3 p.m. All proceeds, they are going to go to a charity that's going to help youth and the sports. It's all good. Barcode Burgers in Las Vegas. I better see you there.